A strange affair. It seems as though initially they used women against men to bring them down a bit and get them to know their place, just like we had done to us. Women took the bait and went for equality, despite knowing we are different. Now, in a twist to the tale, it seems the tables have turned again, and now men are being used against women, and men, with the twist being that it is a handful of men portraying what they perceive to be a representation of what it is to be a woman. Not actually a woman, but an exaggerated commercial parody of one. Quite perverse, really. And aside from the comedic way they try to paint it, it's quite disturbing how so many of the monopoly companies have decided, all at the same time, to change their branding with who they have chosen. And not many, just one face for it all. These companies don't do things without a heavy amount of psychological research and marketing beforehand. So knowing it will make headlines, but damage sales, they have gone ahead. Strange trade-off for a business, trying to appeal to an extremely small section of society. And all the other places where they are trying to shoehorn men into is odd too. Making sure they win women's awards, sports, get their jobs and statuses. Even now talking of implanting wombs into men, or taking people out of the growing process altogether, covered in my article Pod Life too. All the while laughing and joking about it, finding it amusing to downplay women's concerns. But I believe these concerns should be shared by both, because it's a weird project they seem to have running. We're trying to balance it all out by creating one agenda. Sounds awfully like agenda, doesn't it? And there has been speculation over the years that the encouragement of letting women go out to work and then being given rights was all a ruse and a cover, for a purpose with a few layers to it. Firstly, you can instantly increase the workforce and can gather more taxes and money from people. Secondly, you start to change the family dynamic and draw women away from the household. And thirdly, you can change the mindset of individuals and the overall social group. Like I said above, there is a level of difference between men and women that we had mostly accepted as a collective. That women get pregnant and have children, men cannot, although are half the equation in being the ones who impregnate women. That there are strength differences between the two, and varying levels of hormones which affect day-to-day function and throughout our lives. I honestly thought we had accepted that, and wanted to maintain what we knew, and improve upon it to make it all better and brighter. But no, it seems we are taking a rather strange path instead, where instead of celebrating our differences and embracing our individual selves within that, they appear to be trying to blur the lines, and to some, it seems as simple as someone just trying to be themselves, which to me seems ironic, as it literally involves trying to be someone else. So not your authentic self then. I thought part of life was about trying to work out who you were and being accepting of that. Warts and all, as they say. But if you're constantly changing yourself to fit what you think is acceptable to society, and by society I mean all the angles of it, which include friends, family and media too, then how are you ever going to know who you were meant to be? And it is harsh that the society I speak of is the one who sets up restrictions, boundaries, ideals and expectations in people's lives and families, so they weren't or aren't able to just be themselves. However, being yourself is now being wielded as a weapon, and to be honest, it kind of always was, just in different ways. Told to be confident, said it comes across as aggressive or as a know-it-all. Encouraged to succeed. Oh, but don't gloat about it, otherwise others will think you're rubbing it in their face. It's a hard line to walk sometimes. Social etiquette, standards, and rules of engagement are different in amongst the people, and not quite as easy as they would have you think. Online makes it seem so cut and dry. Think this or you get accused of thinking that. Support something or you are viewed as against it. Like the saying goes, just because I like apples does not mean I hate oranges. And just because I might hate something or have a dislike for it, doesn't mean I want everyone else to stop liking it either. That would seem like an odd validation requirement for something that should be personal and not involve anyone else. And that could be said of a few things in society too. What people used to refer to as behind closed doors is now a grey area for many. Because while things do literally and metaphorically still happen behind closed doors, much of it from certain people is shared online, making it public and in the social arena, whether you are well known or not. People willing to air their dirty laundry, share their opinions, dislikes, and what I guess they deem as the information they want people to know at that time. Just an online version of a pub in a small town, but with a much bigger population and audience to your life, where there would always be some folk who would love to chat about their drama in the pub, trying to get everyone to listen or be interested or involved. Others would just happily come and go about their business, mingling a bit and leaving. Others just being normal, drinking and laughing and utilising the chance to unwind. But people who are the first type liked to dominate the room, the crowd, the vibe, and demanding the attention, with a reaction when not getting what is required, either a tantrum, a lie, an emotional breakdown, or whatever it takes to get that validation and boost. Sure, it's nice when someone likes what you do, but why would you need people to constantly like who you are when most people can't possibly know who you are? And many seem to be struggling with knowing themselves, so to then expect others to know you is just a bit of a reach, in my opinion. So, although those closed doors I mentioned are now not so closed, it's like glimpsing in through a crack in the door, or catching 5 minutes of someone's day or feelings. But it isn't just any 5 minutes, or an accidental moment. It's deliberate, and for purpose mostly. People choose what they share currently on social media, and although they may have a lapse in judgment, or vent something more personal than they wish they had, mostly they share and say what they want you to see and hear, so you will know what they want you to know. Meandering back to the start of the article, it seems to me that the difference between women and men are being very much intermingled with feelings of identity, but without discussing some of the real points as to why people have felt so confused or misplaced within society. It's not accidental in my mind. People are meant to be confused and looking for help to find themselves. It's what groomers thrive on, and then they can offer to help you with that. And when I say groomers, I am referring to government here and the authorities that decide programmes and structures of society. We all have our own experiences growing up and of working out who we are meant to be, alongside the construct and stereotypical expectations of society shaping that. Which is why I call them groomers, as I do think we have all been groomed to behave a certain way and give them what they need. Men and women used against each other, just as boys and girls are, to keep it all not so harmonious, to keep the flames of greed, jealousy, competition, and desire burning brightly. But it seems not enough for them anymore. They have the means and the will to turn people against themselves, and will use every trick in the book to exploit people's weaknesses and vulnerabilities. Being who you are is now more important than ever, and sometimes we just need a bit of time and space to work out who that is.